And as I now invite Dr. Kharbanda to share his views, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. O.P. Kharbanda is Professor and Head, Division of Orthodontics and Dentofacial Deformities, Center for Dental Education and Research, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. He's involved in care and research related to CLP since 1995. He has more than 30 years of experience in teaching and has been associated with the Department of Orthodontics, AIIMS, since the inception of its program in 1986. His book entitled Orthodontics Diagnosis and Management of Malocclusion and Dentofacial Deformities is well read across countries. He has served International Editorial Board and Peer Review Board of major orthodontic journals of world repute. He has been involved in innovations and product developments and has various patents in his name. He is past president of the Indian Orthodontic Society and Indian Association of Cleft Lip, Palate and Craniofacial Anomalies. He has been accorded with many prestigious national as well as international awards for research and service. So we invite his views, especially regarding this capacity building, a lot of investments also in terms of the research which has to be there in this segment. Looking forward to your views, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. O.P. Kharbanda.
Thank you very much for the nice words. Let me see if I can come up to that expectation. Well, first of all, I just want to say that this prime time research was a very new name to me. When I got a letter from Ravi Singh, whom I want to thank immensely for bringing me here, and I don't see him around. I think he likes to be behind the scene. And he did receive me, of course. So I was not sure where I am heading for. So I asked him to send me some background, little bit more information about their company. And I realized that this is a company which is doing immense work. And now, as it is said, that you don't need only to have a good product, but that good product has to be sold in the market, and you need media to do that job for you. And I think Prime Research is also not only doing this work for medical profession and healthcare professional rather, but also for other organizations, and they are quite known and renowned in their field. Now, in addition to what they are doing like professionally, they have also come up with this social service where thereby they have started recognizing educationists, healthcare professionals, medical people, and now I think dental they are doing for the first time, and that's how we are here and you are here. Now, coming to the dentistry, first of all, I wish to say that as I will just talk about the social image of a dentist. It is something like, there are 7 or 9 blind men and they have touched an elephant. So the one who touched on the legs, they said it is like a rock. The one who touched the tail, it says it's a thin. And everybody described the elephant differently. So our dental profession is at that stage as of now, as far as the social image of dentist is concerned. Because different people in this society have a different kind of experience coming from their dentists. And I'm being very truthful, please do not mind, I will be a little bit critical also of my own profession. And why they have this different experience? Sometimes they think dentist is a beautician, sometimes they think dentist is a cosmetic person, sometimes they think dentist is the one who cleans the teeth, sometimes the dentist is the one who fills the cavity. Sometimes they think dentist is a man who is very nice, smartly dressed person, who is always smiling. He is like a role model for many. Sometimes they think dentist is a really good man who is our friend. And sometimes they think dentist is the person who is always after making the money. Now, why it is like this? That is one. Number two, we at many times, I will be very critical, I wish to tell you. I like to be critical, but that is the way I work. And number two, many a times we have grown up as dentists and we study medicine, surgery, whatsoever during our dental years. And when we get into practice, we keep those principles behind. We limit ourselves to the teeth alone. And we forget that when we are treating a patient, whose mouth we are treating, he is also a human being. He also has a body. He has a system working in it. Dentistry should be and is an integral part of the total medical care. You are a part of the healthcare professional, and for that, we should remain like that even when we go into practice. And why we need to do this? We need to do this because as far as healthy people are concerned, you can get away with it. But now, with the improvement in the care of quality, there are so many people who are looking good, but they are on several medications, which have so many implications in the dental treatment and intervening in the oral cavity. There are elderly patients who are on multi-drug therapy. There are children who are surviving of cancer. And these situations we face because I work in an institute where I come across all kinds of situations, and I also come across situations where I feel that if dentist was, my friend was a good, well-equipped, he could not have sent this patient here. So we have also to work out to improve the social image of a dentist. And this is the, I think, we should resolve today, especially those who are getting award, because they are getting award for something doing good, and I am sure they will resolve this. The second thing which I want to mention here is that anything we do, now when we go and buy, say, a product, we want to buy like a music system. We know the Bose is the best sound system, and then Philips, and then Sony, and this. So that means you are paying for a quality product. Are we charging the patient for the quality which we are giving them? That is the second thing which I think we need to think about it. So the quality assurance is very, very important. If you want to improve the image, you can charge, but then give him what you are charging him for. Now coming back to the national problem of oral health, now that was the issues which I have discussed to you. They have been lingering in my mind, and I don't leave any forum to talk about them. Now, there are two things which are very, very important. One is unequal distribution of the professionals in the country. We have more dentists in these cities than in the rural area. That we know. Now, within cities, but there are people, we are called urban poor. There are slums within city. They don't have access to the dental health. So who is going to look after them? So we as a dentist have a responsibility to adopt maybe 2 patients in a week, 1 patient in a week, where we think we can do social service. Maybe something like this should be done. Now, the second thing is that the oral hygiene products which are being sold in the market, I just, since Dr. Jain is here, I want to convey this to the government through him, that the oral hygiene products are usually classified under the group of cosmetics. So they are very expensive. And we know that if the best part of dental diseases is, there are essentially 3. If you look at it, one is dental caries, which is very high among children. Periodontal disease, the main cause of tooth loss in India, main cause of adult tooth loss in India. Third one is malocclusion, which is second most prevalent in children after dental caries. And the fourth, of course, oral cavity, I will talk later, systemic health and all that, I will talk later. Now, all these, of these 3, 2 are 100% preventable. And the malocclusion can be preventable if the caries is prevented, because most of the malocclusion develop because premature loss of baby teeth. So if these 2 diseases can be prevented, then India can save huge money, and they can be just prevented by a good education and availability of oral hygiene product at a low cost. And I think the third part here would be where the media can play a role in conveying this message to the society. Now, at one hand, I think we have subsidy for a lot of contraceptive products. Government gives a lot of, because they want not to have many children. So can we think of that kind of subsidy for those products which can save a lot of cost, national resource to oral hygiene products, or at least take them out of the ambit of costly taxes which are levied on the cosmetics as dental products. Now, a simple toothbrush, if used properly, with a very little of toothpaste. In fact, once I was giving a program on the national channel, and I showed how to brush, and I said that you need to put a toothpaste on the size of a peanut. And then the anchor asked me that I think the industry will go against you. I said, why? Because they show the full. Because if you use the full paste, that means how many more tons of toothpaste is consumed in the country, how many users, and that means how many more sale. Because for them to look at is that how many tons of toothpaste they have sold. But my issue here is that I want that our population should use effective toothbrushing with least of toothpaste, so that the cost is saved for the family. So I think that is the other aspect. Now, the other thing which I am trying to say here is that perhaps in the education sector now, which of course there are very stringent guidelines from the Dental Council of India, वो पहले वाली बात नहीं रही. वो एक ऐड भी आता है ना, पहले वाली बात नहीं रही. तो पहले वाली बात कैसे आएगी? The thing is that there are teachers, but there are teachers who are not ready to give their best to the student. That is where we are missing. And then we expect the student to do his best. He should deliver this, he is not doing this, he is not doing this. So as teachers, many of them I can see are my colleagues, are sitting here, they are also big professors. And of course, I just wish to say that we have to do our own introspection. I am also a teacher, I am a researcher, I am a clinician, but I have to do my own introspection. That am I doing my best, giving my best to the student, to expect best from him? So when we were students, like our clinical training was very rigorous. It was supervised at every step. But if it is not supervised at every step, the product which comes out, they goes out to do so many courses here and there, they spend a lot of money. After they pass out, they are still looking for short courses to be competent, because they don't have enough confidence that they can deliver the good quality work. So I think as teachers we have to do a little more. And if we, and there you are the role model for students. That is the other thing. Many things which I have imbibed is from my teachers, because I look them as my role models, that how do they maintain infection control, how they speak to patient, how polite they are, what kind of service they are giving, how do they check the quality of the treatment they have given, how they give the instruction, how they do the follow-up. So these things are not written, few things are not written in the books. They are not, they are only learned by observation. And I think we have to be a role model. So in this country, the main issue is that we need to have a access and equity. These are two major issues. So access to dental care by the rural poor. How it will be improved, it's a big challenge. And I think there is going to be some kind of a national oral health policy which is looking into it, and there are people involved in it. So we have to look into it a little bit more seriously. And rather than providing equipment and infrastructure for treatment, we should spend more money on prevention. And because if you prevent, then the cost of dental treatment is negligible. So if you can prevent one cavity, it will, by maybe sealant application, it may be $2. But if you have to put an implant, it costs few $1,000s. So that's how the consequence of it, small cavities which can be filled at the same time. And I think there is also a time that we have to innovate new materials, new diagnostic tools. And I think in India, we have a huge scientific network which is underutilized, which a technology can be adopted into dentistry, in the oral cavity. A lot of is done on the medical sciences, in biochemistry, in genetic research. Even I know there are now work going on to develop sensors to detect pyorrhea at very early stage, to change in the saliva, in the gingival curricular fluid. And there are diagnostic aids which are being developed by scanning the enamel at very early stage so that you can detect the decalcification before it is actually appears to the naked eye, because caries is some microscopic, it happens at microscopic level and you can't see it till it is bad, and when it is bad, you are already gone, enamel is lost. So I think we need to innovate that. And the scientific CSIR, DST, has huge lot of money. I think many of it remains underutilized, and those are from the research institutions and from the dental colleges at least. They should use that money for that. I think I have said a lot. I will not take more time, but like to say thank you to each one of you again for being here, and to the Prime Media for inviting me here and listening to me. But at the end, I just wish to tell you that when I was a young child, I used to read a lot, and I once read an autobiography of Jimmy Carter. I don't know if many of you would have heard his name. He was the President of the United States, and he has very big teeth. When he used to smile, he has a very full smile. So he said that it is not bad to be a shoemaker. What is bad to be a bad shoemaker? So the message I am trying to give you here is that if you do your job well, you are very well respected in the society. And you as a healthcare professional are doing a lot of work. You had a tremendous responsibility to detect diseases in the oral cavity. Don't just limit yourself to the teeth. Look around. And I am involved with cleft palate care. And there is a lot which you can do to the facial deformities. If I know everybody cannot do it, but even dentist plays an important role in at least maintaining the bad oral hygiene of those patients. Because many patients are just told that you don't touch them because you have a facial deformity, you have a cleft palate. No, no, I will not touch it. No, no, you can attend them. So they are also human beings. They need attention. And if you learn a little bit more, you can help them in many ways in their life. So with these words, I like to congratulate all of you who have been given, are being given awards today. I'm sure they have excelled in their profile, in their life, in clinical work and social work. And I like to congratulate Primetime Media for bringing out these awards. Thank you very much.